The coffee shop was busier than usual that Thursday afternoon. I was nursing my third cappuccino, scrolling through job listings on my laptop. When she walked in, Victoria Chen. I recognized her immediately from the photo she'd sent. Tall, elegant, with sharp cheekbones and dark hair pulled back in a perfect bun. She wore a charcoal blazer that probably cost more than my rent, and she moved through the crowded cafe like she owned it. "Riley Martinez?" she asked, stopping at my table. I nodded, suddenly very aware of my faded jeans and coffee-stained hoodie. "That's me." She sat down without waiting for an invitation, placing a leather portfolio on the table between us. "Thank you for meeting me. I know my ad was... unconventional." That was an understatement. I'd found her listing on a freelancer site at 2 a.m, desperate, and 3 months behind on rent, seeking actress for 6-month contract. Must be comfortable with domestic role play. $50,000. Discretion required. "You said it was legal," I said carefully. "Completely." She opened the portfolio and slid a thick document toward me. "I need a wife, temporarily, to help me adopt my niece." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" Victoria's composure cracked just slightly. She took a breath, and I saw the exhaustion behind her professional mask. "My sister Emma died 4 months ago. Car accident. She left behind her daughter Lily. She's 7. Emma's will named me as guardian, but the adoption agency is hesitant about placing a child with a single woman who works 80-hour weeks. So you want to fake a marriage?" "Yes, for 6 months. Long enough to complete the home studies, finalize the adoption, and prove stability. After that, we can have an amicable divorce. You'll be compensated $50,000 plus living expenses." I should have walked away. It was crazy. But I thought about my overdue rent, my maxed out credit cards, my dream of finishing art school that seemed further away every day. What would I have to do? I asked. Live in my home. Attend meetings with the social worker? Appear to be my loving, supportive spouse. She met my eyes. "I need someone who can be convincing. Your profile said you studied theater. 2 years before I had to drop out?" I touched the document. "And after 6 months, we part ways. You get your money, I get custody of Lily. Clean break." It was insane. But insane was better than homeless. "Okay," I heard myself say. "I'll do it. Now Emma's gone and I'm raising her daughter, and I don't know if I'm practical enough for that." "You're doing great," I said softly. Lily Adore Victoria's house was in Maplewood Heights, the kind of neighborhood where the lawns looked like golf courses and the mailboxes were nicer than my entire apartment. Her home was a modern craftsman with floor-to-ceiling windows and a garden that belonged in a magazine. "Guest room is upstairs, second door on the left," she said as I dragged my 2 suitcases into the foyer. "We'll maintain separate bedrooms, obviously. The social worker won't inspect those." "Obviously," I echoed, trying not to gawk at the crystal chandelier above us. "Lily arrives in 3 days. The first home visit is in a week." Victoria handed me a thick binder. "Everything you need to know about our cover story is in here. We met at a charity gala 2 years ago, started dating 6 months later, married last spring in a small ceremony. We kept it quiet because of my work." I flipped through pages of typed notes, photos, even fake wedding pictures that had been photoshopped. "You really thought of everything I had to." Something vulnerable flashed across her face. "Lily is all I have left of Emma. I can't lose her." That first night, I lay awake in the guest room, which was bigger than my entire old apartment, and wondered what I'd gotten myself into. Through the walls, I could hear Victoria moving around, probably working despite the late hour. This was just a job, I reminded myself. 6 months of playing house with a stranger, then freedom. No feelings, no complications. How wrong I was the first time I saw Lily. My heart broke a little. She was small for 7, with her mother's dark curls and the wariest eyes I'd ever seen. She clutched a stuffed rabbit and didn't speak as Victoria knelt down in front of her. "Hi, sweetheart," Victoria said softly. "Do you remember me? I'm your Aunt Vicky." Lily nodded silently. "I'm so glad you're here. This is Riley. She's my wife. She lives here too. She's very excited to meet you." Those wary eyes turned to me. I gave her my gentlest smile. "Hi, Lily. I love your rabbit. Does he have a name?" A pause. Then, quietly, Hopscotch. "That's a great name." I crouched down to making myself less intimidating. "I have a room all set up for you upstairs. Want to see it? Vicky told me you like purple." The smallest flicker of interest? "Purple is my favorite." "Mine too," I lied. "Come on, I'll show you." As we climbed the stairs, Lily's tiny hand slipped into mine. Behind us, I heard Victoria make a soft sound, surprise or relief. I couldn't tell. That night, Lily had a nightmare. Her screams woke the whole house. Victoria and I collided in the hallway, both rushing to her room. We found her tangled in sheets, crying for her mama. "I've got her," Victoria said, but she looked panicked, unsure. I said gently. I climbed into Lily's bed and gathered her close, humming the lullaby my own mother used to sing. Victoria stood in the doorway watching. Slowly, Lily's sobs quieted. She fell asleep against my shoulder. "How did you do that?" Victoria whispered. "My mom died when I was 8, I whispered back. I remember what helped. Something shifted between us in that moment. Victoria's perfectly controlled mask slipped, and I saw the scared woman underneath, someone who wanted so desperately to do right by this child but didn't know how. "Thank you," she breathed. "We're in this together, remember?" I said. For Lily, the social worker, Mrs. Henderson, arrived exactly on time. "Mr. and Mrs. Chen," she said cheerfully. "I'd taken Victoria's last name for the paperwork. So wonderful to finally see your home." Victoria's hand found mine. Her palm was cold, nervous. "We're happy to have you," she said smoothly. "Please, come in." For the next 2 hours we performed. We showed Mrs. Henderson the house, Lily's room, the family photos we'd staged. We sat close on the couch, Victoria's arm around my shoulders. We finished each other's sentences about our relationship. "And how did you two navigate Victoria's demanding career?" Mrs. Henderson asked, taking notes. "Riley's been incredibly supportive," Victoria said. "She understands that my work is important to me. And now she'll be able to focus on Lily while I'm at the office." "I'm actually an artist," I added. "I work from home, so I'll always be here for school pickups, homework, all of that." It wasn't entirely a lie. I painted when I could afford supplies. Mrs. Henderson smiled. "And Lily, sweetheart, do you like living here?" Lily, who we'd coached carefully, nodded. "Riley makes the best pancakes, and Aunt Vicky reads me stories before bed. She does." Mrs. Henderson looked pleased. "Every night," Lily confirmed. Then, unprompted, she added, "They love each other a lot, I can tell." My heart skipped. Victoria's grip on my hand tightened. After Mrs. Henderson left, declaring the visit very promising, Victoria and I stood in the kitchen in silence. "She's a good actress," Victoria finally said. "Takes after you." "She meant it," I said quietly. "She sees how hard you're trying. Kids are perceptive like that." Victoria turned away, but not before I saw her eyes glisten. "I don't know what I'm doing, Riley. I work in corporate law. I negotiate million-dollar deals. But a 7-year-old girl terrifies me." Without thinking, I touched her arm. "You're doing fine. Better than fine." She's starting to smile again. "That's because of you." Victoria looked at my hand on her arm, then at my face. For a long moment, neither of us moved. Then she cleared her throat and stepped back. "Thank you," she said formally, "for your performance today," but something had changed. We both felt it. The next few weeks fell into a rhythm. Mornings. I made breakfast while Victoria got ready for work in a flurry of coffee and conference calls. Lily would shuffle downstairs in pajamas, and I'd braid her hair while she ate cereal. Days I'd walk Lily to the bus stop, then come home to paint in the sunroom Victoria had told me to use as a studio. Sometimes I'd prep dinner. Sometimes I'd just stare at my canvas and wonder how I'd ended up here. Evenings, Victoria came home exhausted. We'd have dinner together, the three of us, playing family. Lily would chatter about school. Victoria would ask careful questions, learning how to talk to a child. I'd watch them both and feel something dangerous growing in my chest. Nights, after Lily was asleep, Victoria and I would sit in the living room with wine. We'd debrief about the adoption process, but increasingly, we just talked. About everything. About nothing? "Why did you drop out of art school?" she asked me one night. "Money," I shrugged. "My dad got sick. Medical bills. I worked 3 jobs, but it wasn't enough. He died anyway, and I was left with debt and no degree." "I'm sorry." She meant it. "Will you go back?" "Maybe after this. After I have $50,000. After I leave you." The thought made my chest ache. "You're talented," Victoria said, looking at the painting I'd been working in and abstract piece in blues and golds. "Really talented. Thanks." I sipped my wine. "What about you? Did you always want to be a lawyer?" "I wanted to be a writer." She laughed, but it sounded sad. "Fiction. I was going to write the next great American novel." "What happened?" "Life, responsibility. My parents expected certain things. Emma was the creative one, the free spirit. I was supposed to be practical." She stared into her glass. "Now Emma's gone and I'm raising her daughter, and I don't know if I'm practical enough for that." "You're doing great," I said softly. "Lily adores you. She adores you. I see how she lights up when you come into a room." Victoria looked at me. "You're a natural with her. So are you. You just don't see it yet." Our eyes held. The air felt charged, dangerous. I looked away first. Part 6. The CRACKS happened on a Saturday. Victoria had taken the day off, a rare occurrence. We'd taken Lily to the zoo, the 3 of us. Lily had been ecstatic, running from exhibit to exhibit, pulling us along by our hands. "Look at the penguins," she squealed. "They're so funny." Victoria laughed, ouchily laughed, open and genuine, and I felt my heart do something complicated. When had she become so beautiful? Or had she always been, and I just hadn't let myself notice? We got ice cream. Lilies dripped all over her shirt. Victoria tried to clean her up, making a bigger mess. I helped, and somehow Victoria and I ended up close to close, both leaning over Lily with napkins. Our faces were inches apart. Victoria's eyes met mine. Her breath caught. "Guys, you're making it worse." Lily giggled, breaking the spell. That night, after Lily was asleep, I found Victoria on the back patio. She had a glass of wine and a distant look. "Hey," I said, "you okay?" "I keep thinking about Emma," she said quietly. "She would have loved today. She always wanted to take Lily to the zoo." I sat beside her. "Tell me about her." So she did. Victoria talked about her sister, the age gap between them. How Victoria had basically raised Emma after their parents got too busy. How Emma had been wild and artistic and everything Victoria wasn't. How they'd drifted apart when Victoria got consumed by work. "I should have called more," Victoria said, her voice breaking. "I should have visited. I kept thinking there would be time, and then there wasn't." "She knew you loved her," I said, taking Victoria's hand without thinking. "And she trusted you with the most important thing in her life. That means something." Victoria looked at our joined hands. "When did this become real?" she whispered. My heart stopped. "What? This us playing house? It was supposed to be an act." She turned to face me fully. "But somewhere along the way, I started looking forward to coming home. To seeing you, to these conversations, and today, at the zoo, I felt like we were actually a family. And it terrified me because in 5 months, you're going to leave." I should have pulled away. Should have reminded her this was just a contract. Instead, I said, "It terrifies me too." "Why?" "Because I'm falling for you." The words escaped before I could stop them. "And for Lily, and this was supposed to be simple, but it's not simple anymore. Victoria, it's so far from simple." She stared at me. Then, slowly, she leaned in. Our foreheads touched. "We can't," she whispered. "The contract. Screw the contract." I kissed her. Victoria made a soft sound against my mouth, surprise and relief and want all mixed together. Her hand came up to cup my face, and the kiss deepened. It was nothing like I'd imagined it was better. Urgent and sweet and terrifying all at once. When we broke apart, we were both shaking. "What are we doing?" Victoria breathed. "I don't know," I admitted, "but I don't want to stop." Part 7. COMPLICA2ON. We tried to be careful. For Lily's sake, for the adoption's sake, we kept things quiet. But stolen kisses in the kitchen turned into Victoria pulling me into her room at night. Casual touches became charged with meaning. "This is insane," Victoria said one night, lying in her bed with me tucked against her side. "We're jeopardizing everything." "I know." I traced patterns on her collarbone. "Do you want to stop?" She tightened her arms around me. "No, but it wasn't easy." Victoria was still Victoria Cantrolled, guarded, terrified of failure, and I was still broke, still temporary, still unsure if this was real or just Stockholm Syndrome from playing house. "What happens after the adoption?" I asked one night. Victoria stiffened. "What do you mean?" "The contract ends in 4 months. Am I still leaving? Or are we ... I couldn't finish the sentence. "I don't know," she said honestly. "This wasn't part of the plan. Plans change, not mine. My plans don't change. I make a strategy, and I execute it." But she didn't sound convinced. "Riley, I can't promise you anything. My life is complicated. My work is demanding. And Lily has to come first. I know that. I'm not asking you to choose, aren't you?" She sat up, and I felt the distance growing between us. "Because if you stay, this becomes real. Real relationships, real expectations, real ways to get hurt. Are you ready for that? Are you?" I shot back. We didn't have an answer. Part 8. The Second Home VIC. Henderson returned 6 weeks later for the follow-up visit. By then, Lily had bloomed. She talked more, smiled more, brought home artwork from school that we hung on the fridge. She called Victoria Aunt Vicky and me Riley Mom, something she'd started on her own that made my heart squeeze every time. "The transformation is remarkable," Mrs. Henderson said, watching Lily show off her room. "She's clearly thriving here." Victoria and I sat close on the couch, not acting anymore, just naturally gravitating to each other. Our hands were intertwined. "We're happy," Victoria said simply. "All of us, I can see that." Mrs. Henderson made notes. "The love in this home is obvious. Lily's teacher reports she's doing much better socially and academically. Her therapist says she's processing her grief in healthy ways." She looked up at us. "You two are doing something right." After she left, we got the news we'd been hoping for. The adoption was being... We'd have final approval within 2 months. We should have been celebrating. Instead, an awkward silence filled the house. 2 months, I said, double quotes, yes. Victoria wouldn't look at me. Then what? I don't know, Riley. She stood up abruptly. I don't know what you want from me. This was supposed to be temporary. You were supposed to leave. That was the deal. Deals change when you fall in love. I stood too, frustrated. Or do you not feel the same way? Of course I do. Victoria's composure cracked completely. But I have spent my entire life being practical, planning, controlling outcomes. I can't just throw that away because of feelings. Why not? Because people leave. The words burst out of her. My parents were never there. Emma died. Everyone I've ever counted on has left, one way or another. And I've learned to protect myself. To not need anyone, but you need me, I said quietly. Don't you? Victoria's face crumpled. Yes. God help me. Yes. And it terrifies me. I crossed to her, taking her face in my hands. I'm not leaving. Not unless you want me to. The contract? Forget the contract. Do you want me to stay? Yes, she whispered. But I don't know how to do this. How to be in a relationship. How to let someone in. We figure it out together. I kissed her softly. That's what love is. Figuring it out as you go. Part 9. The TRUT. Everything fell apart on a Tuesday. Mrs. Henderson arrived unannounced for a casual check-in, which we later learned was standard procedure. Unfortunately, she arrived right when Victoria and I were having a massive fight. You can't just throw money at every problem. I was shouting when the doorbell rang. Lily needs you present, not presents. I'm doing my best, Victoria shouted back. Unlike some people, I have an actual career that requires attention. The doorbell rang again. We both froze. Mrs. Henderson, Victoria breathed, looking at the security camera. Oh God. We composed ourselves, but it was too late. Mrs. Henderson had clearly heard everything through the door. Is everything all right? She asked carefully when Victoria opened it. Fine. We said in unison too brightly. She didn't believe us. The visit was tense. Mrs. Henderson asked pointed questions. Where was Lily? At a friend's house, thank God. Were we having marital problems? No more than any couple. How long had these problems existed? Finally, she asked the question we'd been dreading. Ladies, I need to ask. Is this marriage real? The silence was deafening. Victoria and I looked at each other. In her eyes, I saw fear and love and desperation all mixed together. Yes, I said firmly. It's real. It started as a contract, Victoria added, and my heart sank. But she continued. Riley answered an ad. I needed a wife to help with the adoption. It was supposed to be fake. A performance, Victoria, I started. But it became real, she said, looking at me. Somewhere between the first nightmare and the zoo and 1,000 ordinary moments, I fell in love with her. For real, this isn't what I planned, but it's what happened. And I'm not sorry. Mrs. Henderson's expression was unreadable. You entered into a fraudulent marriage to game the adoption system. Yes, Victoria said quietly. I did because I was desperate. Because I'd lost my sister and I couldn't lose Lily too. Because I knew I could give her a good home if someone would just give me a chance. Was it wrong? Probably. But I'm not sorry. I'd do it again, and you. Mrs. Henderson turned to me. You were paid to play house? At first, I took Victoria's hand. But that's not why I'm still here. I'm here because I love them both. Victoria and Lily, they're my family now. Real family. Mrs. Henderson closed her notebook. I need to make some calls. I'll be in touch. After she left, Victoria sank onto the couch, her head in her hands. I've ruined everything. They'll take Lily away. They'll charge us with fraud. Oh God, Riley, what have I done? I sat beside her, pulling her close. You told the truth. That's all we could do. The truth is going to destroy us. Maybe, or maybe it'll set us free. The next week was agony. We heard nothing from Mrs. Henderson or the adoption agency. Victoria barely slept, convinced every phone call would be someone coming to take Lily away. I held her through panic attacks, reminded her to eat, kept Lily distracted with art projects and park trips. I can't lose her, Victoria said one night, her voice raw. I can't. You won't. Whatever happens, we fight, together. Finally, the call came. Mrs. Henderson wanted to meet with all three of us. We sat in the agency office, Lily between us. Holding both our hands, Mrs. Henderson looked serious behind her desk. I've reviewed your case extensively, she said. I've also spoken with Lily's therapist, her teacher, and several of your neighbors. My heart pounded. Beside me, Victoria had gone completely still. What you did was unethical. It violated the spirit, if not the letter, of adoption regulations. Mrs. Henderson paused. However, my job is to determine what's best for Lily, and every professional I've spoken to agrees. She's thriving in your care. Her therapist says she's made more progress in 3 months than she did in the 6 months after her mother's death. Her teacher says she's a different child, happy, engaged, secure. So, Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. Mrs. Henderson looked at Lily. Sweetheart, can you tell me, do you want to stay with your Aunt Vicky and Riley? Lily nodded vigorously. They're my family. Riley mom reads to me and makes pancakes and helps with homework. Aunt Vicky tells me stories about my mama and teaches me to be brave. I love them. Mrs. Henderson's expression softened. I can see that. She turned back to us. I'm recommending the adoption be approved. With conditions? Anything, Victoria said immediately. You'll continue therapy, all 3 of you, family sessions included. I want to see you actively working on communication and co-parenting and, She looked at me. Riley, if you're truly staying, you need to formally adopt Lily too. Make this official. No more pretending. My eyes filled with tears. I'd love that. Then we have a deal. Mrs. Henderson actually smiled. Congratulations. You're going to be a family. The finalization hearing was 3 months later. We stood before the judge. Victoria, Lily, and me and made it official. Lily Chen Martinez, our daughter? How does it feel? Victoria asked afterwards, holding our daughter between us as we walked out of the courthouse. Like coming home, I said that night, after Lily was asleep. Victoria and I sat on the patio where we'd first kissed. I need to tell you something, she said nervously. I've been thinking about that novel I always wanted to write, and I've decided, I'm going to cut back at the firm, go part-time, focus on family more, maybe even write again. I stared at her. Really? Really? You and Lily are teaching me that life isn't just about plans and control. It's about love, about taking chances, about letting people in. She took my hand. I'm letting you in fully. No more walls. I'm scared too, I admitted. This is real now. What if I mess it up? Then we mess it up together, she smiled. That's what marriage is, right? The real kind, not the fake kind we started with. Speaking of which, I pulled out a small box. I know we're already married, but I wanted to do this right. Inside was a simple silver band with a small sapphire. Victoria Chen, will you marry me? For real this time. She laughed and cried at the same time. We're already married, you ridiculous woman. I know, but we did it for the wrong reasons. I want to do it again. For the right ones. For love, yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you again for real. We kissed under the stars, and it felt like a promise. A real one this time. Lily, we're going to be late. I called up the stairs. Coming. She thundered down, backpack bouncing. At 8, she was all long limbs and energy. Is Mama coming to the art show? Mama was what she called Victoria now. I was Mom. We'd never told her to differentiate. She'd done it on her own. She's meeting us there, I said, helping her with her jacket. She wouldn't miss it. In my studio, the sunroom that had become my permanent workspace, my paintings leaned against the walls. I'd gone back to school part-time, finishing my degree. My work was starting to sell. Nothing major, but enough. Between that and Victoria's reduced hours, we were making it work at the school. Victoria was already there, having left her office early. She'd started her novel too, a story about sisters and love and second chances. She wrote on weekends while Lily and I painted together. There are my girls, she said, pulling us both into a hug. We looked at Lily's artwork displayed in the cafeteria. Paintings of our family, 3 people holding hands. A house, a dog, we'd gotten a dog. In her child's hand, she'd captured something true. Love. It's beautiful, sweetheart, Victoria said, crouching down. Tell me about it. It's us, Lily explained. Our family. We weren't always family, but now we are. Mom told me you two met because of me. Is that true? Victoria and I exchanged a look. We'd decided we'd tell her the truth someday, when she was older. But for now, we met because we were meant to, Victoria said. And yes, you brought us together. You're the reason we're a family. Cool. Lily bounced away to show her friends. Victoria stood, taking my hand. No regrets, she asked softly. I thought about that desperate night when I'd answered an ad for a fake wife, about the woman I'd met who was all sharp edges and fear, about the little girl who'd needed us both, about how none of it had gone according to plan. Not a single one, I said. You? None. She kissed me right there in the elementary school cafeteria, not caring who saw. Best contract I ever signed, even if it turned into something real, especially because it turned into something real. We stood there, hands intertwined, watching our daughter laugh with her friends. We'd started as strangers. We'd become a performance. But somewhere in the in-between, in the ordinary moments, and the hard conversations and the choice to stay, when leaving would have been easier, we'd become something true. A family. Not the one we'd planned, but the one we'd needed all along, and that was the best kind of love story there was. The gallery was packed. I stood in the corner nursing champagne and trying not to hype. My first solo exhibition, 30 paintings hung on white walls under perfect lighting. 3 years of work. 3 years of finding my voice again. Mom, this one's my favorite, Lily said, pulling me toward a large canvas. She was 10 now, all knees and elbows and opinions. Is that supposed to be me? It was a portrait in abstract swirls of purple and gold, the colors of grief transforming into joy. It's called The Girl Who Brought Me Home, I said. So yes, it's you, she beamed. Can we buy it? You can't buy your own mom's painting. Silly. Why not? Mama bought 3 already. I turned to find Victoria schmoozing with a collector near the front. She'd dressed up black silk dress, her hair down for once. She caught my eye and winked. My heart still did that stupid flutter thing. Mrs. Martinez. A woman approached with a red dot sticker. I'd like to purchase this piece. The Girl Who Brought Me Home. Oh, that one's not for. I started 15,000, the woman said firmly. My brain short-circuited. $15,000. For my painting. Sold, Victoria said smoothly, appearing at my side. She nodded to the gallery assistant who placed the red dot on the wall. Then she whispered to me, I'll buy it from her 420. That painting stays in the family. I laughed, slightly hysterical. You're ridiculous. I'm in love with a talented artist. I'm allowed to be ridiculous. She squeezed my hand. I'm so proud of you. The opening was a success. By the end of the night, I'd sold 18 paintings. 18. The broke girl who'd answered a sketchy ad 3 years ago. Couldn't quite believe it. Speech. Someone called out, Oh God. Public speaking. My worst nightmare. Victoria's hand found the small of my back, steadying me. You've got this, she murmured. I took a deep breath and faced the crowd. Thank you all for coming. These paintings, they're about transformation. About finding family in unexpected places. About how sometimes the biggest risks lead to the biggest rewards. My eyes found Victoria and Lily. 3 years ago, I was lost. Then I met 2 people who changed everything. This exhibition is dedicated to them. To my wife, Victoria, who taught me that love is worth being brave for, and to our daughter Lily, who taught us both what family really means. The applause was warm, but it was the tears in Victoria's eyes that mattered. Later, after the gallery closed and Lily fell asleep in the car on the way home, Victoria and I sat on our patio hour spot. Emma would have loved tonight, Victoria said softly. She always believed in you. Even before I met you. What do you mean? Victoria smiled. I found something a few months ago. Emma's journal from before she died. There was an entry about you. She'd seen your work at a student exhibition years ago. She wrote, Saw the most incredible paintings today by this girl Riley Martinez. The way she captures emotion is breathtaking. I wish Vicky could meet someone like that, someone who feels things deeply, who could teach her to be soft again. My breath caught. She knew about me. Not really. Just your art. But it's strange, isn't it? That Emma saw your work, wrote about you, and then years later I'd hire you to help me raise her daughter. Like she sent you to us? You think she planned it? I think Emma always had a way of making magic happen, even after she was gone. Victoria took my hand. She'd be happy. Seeing Lily so loved. Seeing me finally. ... Happy, are you? Happy? Deliriously. She pulled me close. Though I never imagined this life. Wife to an artist. Mother to a precocious 10-year-old. Part-time lawyer, part-time novelist, living in chaos instead of control. Do you miss it? The control? Sometimes, but then I remember what I have now, what we built together, a real marriage, not a contract, a real family, not a performance. She kissed my temple. The best things in my life are the ones I didn't plan. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Inside, Lily was sleeping safely. In the studio, my paintings waited. In our bedroom, Victoria's manuscript sat on the nightstand. She was on chapter 15 of her novel. Writing every morning before work. I've been thinking, Victoria said carefully, about expanding our family. My heart jumped. What kind of expanding? There are so many kids in the system. Kids like Lily was scared, grieving, needing someone to take a chance on them. She turned to face me. I know we have our hands full, and I know it's a huge decision, but I can't stop thinking about it. About giving another child what we gave Lily, a home, a family. I thought about the girl I'd been 3 years ago, desperate, broke, alone. About how one woman's willingness to take a risk had changed everything. Yes, I said, let's do it, really. Really? Though this time, no fake marriage is required. Victoria laughed. Deal. Just real love and chaos and ordinary moments. The best kind of family. We kissed under the stars, and I thought about the ad I'd answered in desperation. About the contract that had brought us together. About how sometimes the most improbable beginnings led to the most extraordinary endings. No, not endings. Beginnings. Because this love, this family, this life we'd built from a lie that became truth, this was just the start. Victoria couldn't speak. The painting was stunning, but more than that, it was them. Their beginning, rendered in B-moms. Moms. I looked up from my easel to see 12-year-old Lily sprinting through the backyard. Her little brother Marcus, age 6, chasing after her with a water gun. Marcus, no water guns in the house. Victoria called from the porch, where she was editing her second novel. Her first, The Sister I Lost, had been published last year to critical acclaim. She still practiced law part-time, but her passion was writing now. "I'm not in the house," Marcus yelled back. "Technically correct. Our daughter Emma, named after Victoria's sister, age 3, toddled out of the house, covered in what I desperately hoped was paint. I made art, Mom." "That's wonderful, sweetie. Very, abstract." I scooped her up. "Let's get you cleaned up before Mama sees." Too late. Victoria appeared in the doorway, took one look at Emma's paint-covered face, and burst out laughing. Like mother, like daughter. In my defense, I gave her washable paint. It's in her hair. Washable. We'd fostered Marcus 2 years ago, adopted him 18 months ago. Emma had been a private adoption through a friend of a friend. A birth mother who'd chosen us specifically because she wanted her daughter raised by 2 moms. We'd said yes without hesitation. Our house was chaos. Our life was beautiful. "Family meeting?" Lily called. Everyone to the patio. It was her thing, now calling family meetings for important announcements, usually about wanting a pet or staying up later or getting a phone. We gathered around the outdoor table, Victoria and me. Lily, Marcus, and Emma in my lap. Lily stood up importantly. "I've been thinking," she said seriously, "and I wrote this for school, but I want to read it to you first." She pulled out a paper. My Family, an essay by Lily Chun Martinez. Victoria's hand found mine under the table. "When I was 7, my mom died," Lily read. "I was really sad and scared. Then I went to live with my Aunt Vicky. She didn't know how to be a mom yet. She was learning, just like me." Marcus fidgeted. Emma played with my hair. Victoria's grip tightened. Then Riley came. Mom Riley. At first I didn't know what she was doing there, but she made pancakes and braided my hair and read me stories when I had nightmares. She made Mama smile. She made our house feel like home. Lily's voice wavered slightly. "My teacher asked us to write about what family means, and I think family is people who choose to love you. Mama chose to take me in even though she was scared. Mom chose to stay even though she could have left. They chose each other, and now we chose Marcus and Emma too." She looked up at us. "Family isn't just about blood. It's about showing up. It's about pancakes on Saturday and bedtime stories and someone holding your hand when you're scared. It's about building something together even when it's hard." Tears streamed down Victoria's face. I wasn't much better. "So that's what family means to me," Lily finished. "It means my moms who found each other because of me. It means my brother and sister. It means we're all here, together, choosing each other every day. And that's pretty cool." She sat down. "Did you like it?" "Come here," Victoria said, her voice thick. She pulled Lily into a fierce hug. "It's perfect. You're perfect." I joined the hug. Emma squished between us. Marcus climbed on too, not wanting to be left out. Group hug. Emma, squealed. We held each other on the patio where Victoria and I had first admitted our feelings 5 years ago, where we'd made promises and had fights and fallen deeper in love with every passing season later. After the kids were in bed, Victoria and I returned to our spot. "Can you believe this is our life?" she asked, leaning against me. I thought about the scared woman who'd offered me $50,000 to play house, the terrified girl who'd taken the offer out of desperation, how we'd been strangers performing a marriage for an audience of 1. "Sometimes I still can't believe you're real," I admitted. "That this is real. It's real." She kissed me softly. "Chaotic and exhausting and nothing like I planned. But real? Would you go back? If you could, choose a different path." Victoria was quiet for a moment. "If you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I would have said yes in a heartbeat. Control was everything to me. Plans were everything. The idea of this much chaos would have terrified me, and now I know that the best things in life are the ones you can't plan. The risks you take when you're desperate, the strangers who become everything." She turned to face me fully. "I hired you to fake a marriage. You gave me a real life. How could I ever regret that? Even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days. Because those are the days when family matters most." We kissed as the stars came out. As our children slept safely inside, as our messy, beautiful, unplanned life continued around us 5 years ago. Victoria had posted an ad seeking actress for 6-month contract. Must be comfortable with domestic role play. $50,000 discretion required. 5 years ago. I'd answered it out of desperation 5 years ago. We'd both thought we knew what we were getting into. We'd been so wrong. This wasn't a 6-month contract. It wasn't a performance. It wasn't fake in any way. It was real love, real family, Real life, it was everything we didn't know we needed, and it all started with a lie that became the truest thing either of us had ever known. 7 years after they met, Victoria woke to an empty bed. She stretched, squinting at the clock. 6:47 a.m. on a Saturday. Where was Riley? Then she smelled it. Coffee and something sweet. Pancakes. Downstairs. Chaos reigned in the best possible way. Riley stood at the stove, paint-stained sleep shirt and messy hair, flipping pancakes while Emma sat on the counter, helping by eating chocolate chips directly from the bag. Marcus was setting the table with intense concentration. And Lily, now 14 and somehow taller than Riley, was filming everything on her phone. "What's all this?" Victoria asked from the doorway. "Happy anniversary," they chorused. Victoria's heart melted. 7 years since that coffee shop meeting, 7 years since a desperate plan became the love of her life. "We made you breakfast," Emma announced proudly. "I helped, I can see that." Victoria kissed her paint-smudged daughter's head, then moved to Riley, wrapping her arms around her waist from behind. "You didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did. It's our anniversary. The real one, the day we met, not the day we legally got married." Riley turned in her arms. 7 years since you offered me $50,000 to be your fake wife? Best money I never actually spent. Hey, I earned that money. You earned so much more than that." Victoria kissed her. "You earned everything." "Gross," Marcus yelled. "No kissing during breakfast." "Your moms are allowed to kiss," Lily said, matter of fact. "It's romantic. I'm getting good footage for my video project." "What video project?" Victoria asked suspiciously. "For school. It's about modern families. I'm documenting ours." Lily grinned. "Don't worry, I'm leaving out the part where you two started as a scam." "It wasn't a scam," Victoria started. "It was totally a scam," Riley interrupted, laughing. "A beautiful, life-hanging scam." They ate breakfast together, pancakes and chaos and love spilling over everything. After Riley shooed everyone out of the kitchen, "I have something for you," she said, leading Victoria to the studio. There, on the easel, was a new painting. Victoria recognized it immediately, the coffee shop where they'd met. But Riley had painted it in her signature abstract style, all emotion and color. 2 figures sat at a table, their faces indistinct, but the energy between them was palpable. Hope, fear, desperation, possibility. "It's called The Meeting," Riley said softly. "I wanted to capture that moment, when we were both so scared and lost and we had no idea we were about to find everything." Victoria touched the key, tears streaming. "How do you do this? How do you always find the perfect words, the perfect gestures?" "I'm an artist. It's my job to see the beauty in things." Riley cupped her face. "And you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." They kissed, surrounded by paintings and memories and the life they'd built together. The high school auditorium was packed. Victoria sat in the front row, camera ready, with Riley on one side and their younger kids on the other. Marcus, now 9, was playing games on his tablet. Emma, age 6, was coloring. "When is Lily coming out?" Emma whispered loudly. "Soon, baby," Riley whispered back. "She has to wait for her name." Victoria's leg bounced nervously. Her baby, not really a baby anymore, but still, her baby was graduating high school. Where had the time gone? "You okay?" Riley asked, taking her hand. "She's leaving for college in 3 months." "I know, I'm not ready." "I know that too." Riley squeezed her hand. "But she is. We raised her to be ready." The ceremony began. Victoria watched as name after name was called, students crossing the stage to collect their diplomas, and then Lily Chen Martinez. Victoria was on her feet before she realized it, camera up, cheering. Riley whooped beside her. Marcus actually looked up from his tablet. Emma waved frantically. Lily walked across the stage in her cap and gown, confident and beautiful and so grown up. She accepted her diploma, then turned to face the audience. Her eyes found theirs, and she smiled, that same smile from when she was 7 and scared and desperate for someone to love her. "We did that," Victoria thought. "We gave her that confidence, that joy." After the ceremony, they found Lily outside, surrounded by friends. "There they are," Lily called. "My mom's." She ran even in heels, and threw her arms around both of them. "I did it." "We're so proud of you," Victoria said, voice thick. "So incredibly proud. Couldn't have done it without you." Lily pulled back. "Either of you. You gave me everything. A home, a family, the courage to dream big." "Where are you going to college again?" Marcus asked. "Columbia." "In New York? That's so far," Emma wailed. "I'll visit," Lily promised, scooping her up. "And you can come visit me. I'll show you the city." That night, after the graduation parties and the photos and the celebration, Victoria found Lily packing in her room. "Bit early for that," she said from the doorway. "You have 3 months." "I know." I'm just excited. Lily looked up. Mama, can I ask you something? Always. Do you ever regret it? Taking me in. I know I complicated your life. You had to hire Mom, change everything, risk everything. Victoria sat on the bed. Come here. Lily sat beside her, and Victoria wrapped an arm around her shoulders, though Lily was taller now, almost eye level. You didn't complicate my life, Victoria said firmly. You saved it. Before you, I was successful but empty. I worked constantly, had no real relationships, no purpose beyond the next case. You gave me a reason to be better, to be present, to open my heart. She turned Lily to face her. Finding your mom, building this family, it all started because of you. You're not a complication. You're the beginning of everything good in my life. Lily's eyes filled. I miss her sometimes. My birth mom, Emma. I know, that's okay. But you're my mama now. You and Mom, you're my real parents. We're all your real parents, Victoria said gently. Emma gave you life. We're raising you. Both things can be true. Both kinds of love can exist. Lily hugged her fiercely. Thank you. For everything. For taking a chance on a scared 7. For bringing Mom into our lives. For Marcus and Emma, for all of it. Thank you for making me a mother, Victoria whispered. Best job I've ever had. Later, Victoria found Riley on the patio their spot. Always their spot. She's leaving, Victoria said. Sitting down heavily, not for 3 months. It feels too soon. Riley pulled her close. Remember when she was 7? When we had no idea what we were doing? When every day felt impossible? Yes. Look at her now. She's incredible. Smart, kind, confident. She knows who she is. Riley kissed Victoria's temple. We did that. We gave her the foundation to fly. I don't want her to fly. I want her to stay 7 forever. Riley laughed. No, you don't. Remember the nightmares? The tantrums? The fear? Okay, maybe not 7, but 12? 12 was good. 12 was when she discovered sarcasm and used it constantly. Fine, 14. 14 was the worst. She was so moody. Victoria finally laughed. You're right. Every age is the worst and the best. That's parenthood. Riley looked up at the stars. And in 3 months, we start a new chapter. Empty nest. Not really. We still have Marcus and Emma, but different. Evolving again. I'm scared, Victoria admitted. Me too. But remember, we're good at scared. Scared is how we started. Scared is how we built everything we have. Victoria thought about that terrified woman 7 years ago, so desperate to keep her niece that she'd hired a stranger. About the risks they'd taken, the lies that became truth, the fake marriage that became the realest thing in her life. Okay, she said. Okay, we can do scared together. Always together. 12 years after they met, the phone call came at 2 a.m. Victoria jolted awake to Riley's panicked voice. It's Lily. There's been an accident. The drive to New York was a blur. Lily was a sophomore at Columbia now, 19 years old and independent. Too independent, Victoria sometimes thought. And now she's stable. Riley kept saying, reading updates from Lily's roommate. She's stable. The doctors said she's stable. What even happened? Taxi ran a red light. She was in a rush. Side impact. Victoria's hands tightened on the wheel. Not again. She couldn't lose someone else to a car accident. Not Lily, not her daughter. At the hospital, they ran through sterile corridors until they found her room. Lily lay in bed, bruised and bandaged, but awake, alive. Moms, she said, voice hoarse. You didn't have to drive all the way. Victoria was at her bedside in an instant, taking her hand carefully, mindful of the 4. Of course we did. You're our daughter. I'm fine. Seriously, broken arm, some bruises. Could have been so much worse. Could have been. Victoria couldn't finish the sentence. The what-ifs crowded her mind. What if the taxi had been going faster? What if Lily had been sitting on the other side? What if breathe, Riley said softly, rubbing Victoria's back. She's okay. She's here. They stayed for 3 days. Marcus and Emma were with Victoria's grandparents who'd come back into Victoria's life once they'd met their grandchildren. Relationships mended slowly over the years. On the second day, while Riley went to get coffee, Lily said, Mama, I need to tell you something. Victoria looked up from her book. What is it? I've been seeing someone. A girl. Her name is Sasha. Lily twisted the blanket. We've been together for 6 months. I didn't know how to tell you. Why wouldn't you tell us? I don't know, I guess. You and Mom have this perfect love story. You found each other against all odds, built this amazing family. And Sasha, she's great. But we're just college kids, you know? It's not epic or fate or anything. It just ... is. Victoria set down her book. Lily, love doesn't have to be epic to be real. Your mom and we have a story. But do you know what the best parts are? Not the big dramatic moments. It's the small things. Morning coffee, goodnight kisses, someone holding your hand when you're scared. She touched Lily's uninjured hand. If Sasha makes you happy, if she treats you well, if being with her feels right, that's enough. That's everything. She was here, Lily admitted. When it happened, she rode in the ambulance with me, called you guys, stayed until you arrived. Then she left because she didn't want to intrude on family time. She sounds wonderful. I'd like to meet her properly, really. Really? Bring her home for Thanksgiving. Let us embarrass you in front of her like proper parents. Lily laughed, then winced at the pain. Okay, yeah, I'd like that. When Riley returned with coffee, Victoria filled her in. Riley immediately said, Thanksgiving. Perfect. I'll make my special pie. The one that always impresses people. The one you burn every year, Victoria teased. I don't burn it every year, just most years. Lily watched them bicker affectionately, and Victoria saw something shift in her daughter's expression. Understanding? Maybe. That love wasn't always grand gestures and fate. Sometimes it was burnt pie and bad jokes and showing up at 2 a.m. because your daughter needed you. Sometimes love was just ... Showing up, Riley's hands shook as she held a letter. Read it again, Victoria said, from across the kitchen table. Dear Ms. Martinez, we are pleased to inform you that your work has been selected for the Whitney Biennial. Her voice broke. Victoria? The Whitney, I know. Victoria was grinning so hard her face hurt. You did it. You actually did it? The Whitney Biennial? One of the most prestigious art exhibitions in the world. And Riley, who'd been a broke dropout answering sketchy ads 15 years ago, was going to be featured. I can't believe this is real. Believe it. Victoria stood, moving around the table to pull Riley into her arms. You're brilliant. The world is finally catching up to what I've known all along. That night, they gathered the family for a celebration. Lily video called from New York, where she was now in grad school. Marcus, age 14, actually put down his phone to celebrate. Emma, age 11, and already showing artistic talent like her mom, created a congratulations banner. Speech. Marcus called. Riley stood, overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. 15 years ago I was ... lost. Broke. Desperate. I answered an ad for a fake wife because I needed money to survive. And that decision led to everything. This family, this career, this life. She looked at Victoria. You took a chance on me when I was nobody. You were never nobody, Victoria said firmly. I was to the world, but not to you. Riley raised her glass. 2. Taking chances. 2 fake marriages that become real. To the family we built from nothing, and to the woman who started it all, Victoria, I love you. Everything good in my life started when I walked into that coffee shop and met you. They toasted. They celebrated. And later, much later, Victoria and Riley found themselves on the patio. Where else? 15 years, Riley mused. Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Sometimes it feels like forever. Both, Victoria agreed. It's both. Do you remember what you were thinking? That day in the coffee shop? Victoria laughed. I was thinking you looked way too young and unpolished for what I needed. I almost canceled the meeting 3 times, but you didn't. But I didn't. Something made me stay. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was fate. Probably both. She turned to face Riley. What were you thinking? I was thinking you looked like you'd never spoken to a poor person in your life. That this was either a terrible idea or a miracle. Riley smiled. Turned out to be both. We're good at both. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars, the same stars that had witnessed their first kiss, their first fight, their first real I love you in this exact spot. Lily's bringing Sasha home for Christmas, Victoria said. Official girlfriend meeting. I know. I'm excited. Nervous, but excited. Marcus has been asking about dating. He's 14. I know. I told him no until he's 30. Riley laughed. That's fair. And Emma wants to apply to art school for high school. There's a specialized program like her mom. Yeah. Riley leaned into Victoria. Our kids are growing up. They're not the only ones. We're growing too. Changing, evolving together. Always together. Victoria kissed her softly. 15 more years. 15,000 more years. Deal. They kissed under the stars. And somewhere in the house, their children, the niece who'd become a daughter, the foster son who'd become a son, the adopted daughter who'd completed them, slept safely 15 years ago. Victoria had posted an ad out of desperation 15 years ago. Riley had answered it out of desperation. Neither of them had known. They were answering the call of their own hearts. Neither of them had known that fake could become so beautifully, impossibly real. But now they knew. Now they understood love isn't always a lightning bolt. Sometimes it's a sketchy ad answered at 2 a.m. Sometimes it's a contract that becomes a promise. Sometimes it's 2 desperate people who find each other in the dark and decide to be each other's light. Sometimes the best love stories start with the words, I need a fake wife, and end with, I'll love you forever. The coffee shop had changed ownership twice, but it still existed. Victoria and Riley sat at the same table where they'd first met Tor, as close as they could remember. 20 years. 2 decades since that fateful meeting. Should we order something? Riley asked. Or is that weird? Everything about this is weird. We're commemorating the day we entered into a fraudulent marriage contract, which became a real marriage, which became the love of my life. Victoria reached across the table for Riley's hand. They both wore rings, now real ones, from the ceremony they'd had 5 years after the adoption, when they'd renewed their vows with all their children present. Riley's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and smiled. Lily says she and Sasha are engaged. What? Victoria grabbed the phone. Sure enough, there was a photo of Lily and Sasha both beaming. Sasha wearing a ring. When did this happen? Apparently about 20 minutes ago. Sasha proposed at the restaurant where they had their first date. Riley's eyes filled with tears. Our baby is getting married. Our baby is 29 years old. Still our baby. Victoria looked at the photo. Lily looked so happy, so loved, so secure in who she was and what she wanted. We did good, didn't we? We did great. They ordered coffee for nostalgia's so canned, sat in the bustling cafe, watching people come and go. Young people, old people, people meeting for first dates and job interviews and casual catch-ups. Do you think any of them are here for something life-changing? Riley wondered. Like we were. Maybe, probably. Life-changing moments don't announce themselves. Ours kind of did. Your ad was pretty specific. Victoria laughed. True-seeking actress for 6-month contract. I cringe thinking about it now. What if someone else had answered? What if you'd ignored it? But I didn't, and you chose me. Riley squeezed her hand. Out of all the people who probably responded, you chose me. I chose you before I knew I was choosing you, Victoria said softly. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. They finished their coffee and walked out into the sunshine. Their car was parked down the street, the sensible sedan they'd bought after Emma was born. Big enough for the whole family. Home, Riley asked. Home, Victoria confirmed. Home, such a simple word for such a complicated concept. Home was their house in Maplewood Heights, bigger now, renovated twice to accommodate their growing family. Home was Victoria's study, where 3 published novels sat on the shelf. Home was Riley's studio, where paintings for the Whitneys still hung. Home was the voices of their children, even though Lily lived in New York and Marcus was away at college. Even though Emma was 16 and more interested in her phone than her parents, home was Riley's hand in hers as they drove through familiar streets. Home was 20 years of choosing each other. Every single day, home was a fake marriage that became the realest thing Victoria had ever known. Hey, Riley said as they pulled into the driveway. Thank you for what? For placing that ad? For taking a chance on a broke artist with no prospects? For being brave enough to risk everything for love? Victoria turned off the car. Thank you for answering it. For staying when you could have left? For teaching me that control isn't everything? That sometimes the best things in life are the ones you can't plan. They got out of the car and Emma met them at the door, headphones around her neck. How was the nostalgia trip? She asked. Perfect, Riley said, kissing her daughter's head. Absolutely perfect. That night, as they lay in their bed in their house, in their life, Victoria said, I love you. Just in case I haven't said it today. You've said it 3 times. But I never get tired of hearing it. Good, because I plan to keep saying it. For the next 20 years, and the 20 after that, and forever after that. Riley turned to face her, and even in the dark, Victoria could see the smile on her face. Forever sounds perfect. They fell asleep holding hands, the way they had every night for 20 years. Outside, the stars watched over them, the same stars that had witnessed their beginning, their middle, and would witness whatever came next, because this wasn't an ending. It never would be. Love like theirs didn't end. It just kept growing, kept evolving, kept becoming more real with every passing day. 20 years ago, 2 desperate women walked into a coffee shop. 20 years later, they walked out as proof that sometimes the craziest chances lead to the most beautiful certainties. That sometimes fake becomes forever. That sometimes a contract becomes a covenant. And that sometimes, just sometimes, love stories begin with the most improbable words. I need a fake wife, and end with the most certain ones. Forever yours.